Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another video here on Buffalo SportsCenter. I am Don, and today we are going to answer the question, well, maybe answer the question, is the Buffalo Bills offense elite? Are they elite? Are they on par with the likes of the Kansas City Chiefs and the Cincinnati Bengals? Well, I'm seeing a lot of people in the national media saying, well, the Bills aren't very deep on offense again. They are not very good. They're going to be a 10-win team on par with the New York Jets and the Miami Dolphins. They're in a tough division. They have a tough schedule, and they just don't have the talent to overcome all of these obstacles. And you know what I think when I hear these headlines and these storylines? Bull crap. Bull crap. It's not true whatsoever. In fact, I think the Bills have much more depth than they did last year. They have depth in a different way, and I'll explain that in a second here. But first, folks, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe. Now, let's look first at the area of most concern, which is the wide receiver core. Yeah, once again, we got Diggs, Davis, Deontay Hardy, brought in as a free agent. Justin Shorter, drafted in the 5th round. We also got a couple of different other options behind them as well. Trent Sherfield being a notable one. And when I see this offensive core, I see a lot of gadget players, a lot of speed, yards after catch kind of guys. A lot of these guys are definitely explosive. I would say they're a poor man's Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle. Small, diminutive. I can't pronounce words today. Smaller, faster, much more vertical threat kind of players. And this tells me for the Bills, especially Ken Dorsey, they're going to try to do a little bit more of like quick 2-5-yard passes right down the field. Just keep slicing and dicing opposing defenses. And while last year, a lot of people would say, well, look, the Bills had a lot of vertical threat. They had a very good deep threat attack. That wasn't necessarily sustainable, and we saw how it wasn't during the Cincinnati Bengals game in the divisional round. We didn't see very much of that in the much goodness of it in the Miami Dolphins game. In fact, Josh Allen's insistence on going downfield almost cost the Bills that game in the wildcard round. So a lot of people around the national media are saying, well, look, the Bills don't know how to build an offense around Josh Allen. He does not have enough weapons. Well, I think he has a lot of untapped potential here. The Bills are going to try to develop some of these guys, namely Justin Shorter. I'm really excited about how he could maybe develop and be a potential Gabe Davis successor. But the Bills are looking at untapped potential. They have suffered from the playoff tax, so they have to go cheaper. They have to find their talent from not necessarily like guys like DeAndre Hopkins or Odell Beckham Jr. No, they're going to have to go deep into free agency, deep into the draft, and they're going to have to really trust their scouts and their assessors of talent because, well, they definitely are banking on that this year, especially in the wide receiver core. But let's move on from the wide receivers, who are of most importance, now to the running backs. And I feel like the running backs have definitely improved this offseason. We have James Cook probably taking over as the full-time number 1 running back. Behind him will be Damian Harris, awesome physical, amazing red zone threat when healthy. That is a big key, when healthy, because Damian Harris has had his injury concerns in the last couple seasons with the New England Patriots. Then we got Nyheim Hines, who I'm still perplexed as to why the Bills did not use him more last season. We acquired him at the trade deadline for a pretty hefty price, and Ken Dorsey just had an insistence of, no, I'm not going to play this guy. I'm only going to use him in special teams. Why? Still perplexing. Still don't understand that choice. And then Latavius Murray, he's the 4th running back on the roster. Mainly there just for insurance. Another red zone threat, could be the backup to Damian Harris. They're really banking on Damian Harris. But if he goes down with one of his patent injuries, then Latavius Murray will be there to step up. In terms of weapons, in terms of depth, I think the running back group was the most improved on offense this year, other than the offensive line. I think the Bills' offensive line really got better this past offseason. But nothing to worry about, I think. We shall see that jump from James Cook now that Devin Singletary is gone. I really liked what I saw and the usage that I saw from James Cook in the playoffs. I think in the red zone, he is a fantastic pass-catching threat out of the backfield. He has great speed, great deceptiveness, and the Bills just got to use him more. Just run the ball. Trust this kid more. Moving on now, we have the tight ends, and this is another group that I really think the Bills improved on this past offseason. They had Dawson Knox already, they had Quentin Morris, but they also had guys like Tommy Sweeney who aren't necessarily very good threats. When Dawson Knox was going down with an injury, he had to play through it. He couldn't go off because if he wasn't there, then the Bills virtually had zero threats in the tight end group. So as part of an insurance, the Bills in the first round drafted Dalton Kincaid, tight end out of Utah. And Dalton Kincaid, there's been a lot of debate as to whether or not he's going to be a day one starter. I personally think he will. A lot of people I mentioned earlier say that the Bills don't have enough depth in wide receiver, in the wide receiver core. The Bills, I think, are going to use Dalton Kincaid much like a wide receiver. He's a tight end, kind of a name only. We'll see a lot of two tight end sets, which the Bills didn't really run all that much. That's one of the big changes I think we'll see on offense this upcoming season. Dawson Knox is going to keep doing his thing. Hopefully Ken Dorsey doesn't have him just run outside seam routes and sometimes inside seam routes too. Quentin Morris, he's only there as a pass blocking kind of threat. He's not really there as a pass catcher. But this group definitely improved. I highly expect Dalton Kincaid to really morph into our third wide receiver, and then we see Deontay Hardy become like the new Isaiah McKenzie. Trent Sherfield, same thing. They'll both be hybrid wide receivers, hybrid kind of maybe running backs. Definitely lots of speed, especially in the wide receiving and tight end cores now. I didn't mention already, Dalton Kincaid, great speed, great footwork off the line of scrimmage, has explosive talent. So that is very, very promising if you're the Buffalo Bills. So just quickly looking, at times the Bills offense really struggled this past season, yet the stats weren't really all that bad. They finished second overall, 7th in the pass, 7th in the rush, and I mean, it wasn't terrible. And in points per game, they were second too, only behind the Kansas City Chiefs and ahead of the likes of the Philadelphia Eagles and Dallas Cowboys and Detroit Lions. So for Buffalo, they didn't have that many areas to improve, but I really think that they did in those limited spaces, especially in the tight end depth, running back depth. I feel like there is something to be hoped for in terms of wide receiver talent. I hope the Bills maybe find a way to bring in DeAndre Hopkins, although that dream kind of looks like it's dead. That would be ideal. That would be in a perfect world, but given the Bills' salary cap issues, plus the lack of options left in the market, means that this is probably the offense we're going to see. And so this brings us all back to the original question. Is the Bills' offense elite? And in my opinion, yes, they are. Josh Allen will elevate these guys. He doesn't really need the best talent to really go off. We saw it. It's kind of the same way Aaron Rodgers was. Aaron Rodgers didn't have the greatest weapons around him, but he elevated those. That's what good quarterbacks do. You don't need guys like DeAndre Hopkins and OBJ to succeed. Yes, it would be very, very useful to have those guys and to have guys who don't drop the ball constantly. Isaiah McKenzie. But it would be nice if the Bills had more depth in case they have another injury crazy season like they did last year. And they did. Brandon Beane definitely improved upon the Bills' depth. He improved in the wide receiver core, the tight end core, and the running back core. So all of those things make me and my thoughts on the Bills' offense kind of buck with the national media storyline and spin that the Bills don't have any depth and they are going to be a weaker, lower scoring team and that their defense isn't that good. No, I think the Bills are a much stronger team on paper now than they were at this point this past last summer. Okay? Well, folks, thank you so much for watching. I was Don. This was Buffalo SportsCenter. Make sure to hit that like button and subscribe. I hope to see all of you in the next video. Make sure to comment your thoughts down below. Do you think the Bills' offense is elite? Anyways, thank you so much, folks, for watching. I'll see y'all in the next video. Peace.